Welcome back. We're enjoying a great conversation with Pfizer Animal Health, and you can enjoy a great offer from them. Order either SinofX or Dectamax from Pfizer Animal Health now through December 24th and save 20% off your entire purchases. Call now at 1-877-682-2369. Let's return to our panelists. Dr. Sides, I want to start with you. What factors should producers consider in determining whether or not to even use an implant in their operation?
Kevin, I hear three basic objections to using an implant on the cow-calf operation. The first one is many producers believe they don't get the same price for implanted calves versus non-implanted when they wean them. When we look at 2009 data from sale barns, video auction sales, there was no premium paid for non-implanted calves. The second objection would be that there's a belief that calves implanted on grass, on the cow, don't perform as well when they get to the feed yard. When you look at data from Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado State University, different universities have looked at that implanted versus non-implanted on grass, followed through the feedlot, no effect on subsequent feedlot performance. Then the third issue, I think, is something that Neil will address, would be, can I implant at branding calves, heifer calves I might keep for replacements? And looking at the data, and there's been tons of data, if I use a single branding time SinofX C, it has no effect on subsequent reproduction of those heifers. So those are the three basic reasons not to. Many of them are just wives' tales, really no negative effect of using an implant. For calves, I wouldn't give them the replacement bulls, but one time to a replacement heifer is okay.
That's interesting insight. Neil, when do you implant your calves?
In the spring when the calves are, we'll calve March, April, so mid-May we'll start working our calves to get them ready for pasture and things like that. So we'll use a SinofX C at that particular time. And then in the fall when we go to backgrounding them and taking them on to feed and upping their ration, then we're using the SinofX choice to enhance what we're trying to do with our genetic profile. We're working real hard to use genetics, so then we're using this as a kind of a catalyst to keep us going in that direction and realizing as much as we can out of the selection we put on our cattle for growth to begin with.
Well, and explain more about that. So if somebody's looking to just start using implants, what's been your experience about how you adjust those various implants? You've mentioned a couple things today based on the weight and type of cattle.
Well, for us, we personally just kind of do the steers. I know that there's some heifers in the fall that'll come off, and then we know that we're not going to be taking them anywhere as far as a breeding deal. Then we'll probably implant those again, but that's just our personal practice. I don't feel that that's a standard that has to be out there or a caution. It's just something that we look at ourselves. And when we use the choice, they recommend, the SinofX Pfizer recommends that you're working on an average daily gain of 3 pounds, and we're hoping to achieve that or exceed that is what our goal is when we're using that in fall.
Clearly there's a lot of competitive products out there. Why have you chosen SinofX implants?
Some of the other products are, say, broad range use, where the Pfizer product is a little more selective to a stage or a sex or an end use. So with that involved, and we just personally want to go that way, and their products have treated us real well, and that's why we kind of go back to that also.
Have you had experience with other products? And
yes, we have. We've used others in the past, and we've never been able to do a real direct comparison or anything like that, but you'll also find sometimes ease of use and application and things like that. So we've gotten real friendly with the product we're using.
Dr. Sides mentioned this, but I want to ask you personally, have you ever personally experienced getting a discount for some calves because you've implanted them?
It's kind of, I'd phrase the question the other way around. Do you get a premium if you don't? And some guys will come along and they'll come out to you and they'll say, well, you didn't implant your calves, probably a feedlot's going to buy them and they'll implant them and they'll give you a premium because they'll feel there's some compensatory gain involved. And I don't know whether it's right or not, Dr. Seiss, but we kind of feel that if we're going to implant them, we'll start at the beginning and just keep going on the gradual plane that they are on. And we did have calves a couple of years ago that were non-implanted, and The guy, oh, good. When they get here, we're going to have a good go around on those cattle. We'll get you a premium. And after we were done with the sale, I don't know what the premium was, but it didn't quite work out in my favor. So.
Wasn't quite what you might have expected. Dr. Sides, what about those producers who are interested in or choose to go into an organic or natural program? What would you say to folks like that?
I think they need to be aware of two issues. One is they need to have a contract in hand that they're going to be guaranteed that they will receive a premium for non-implanted calves. The second issue is they need to make sure that they have a premium that covers the loss of their technology.
Yeah.
And many times, especially at the feedlot level, we see premiums that are much less than what they lose when they drop the other technologies out. It's not just implants. You can't use antibiotics, can't use ionophores. So it's a whole cascade of events that take place. And what do you do with cattle that get sick and you have to treat? So it's a tough issue.
Yeah.
They need to be aware of the economics, need to have a contract in hand, and they also need to be aware that less than 2% of all calves actually go into an organic natural program. The other 98% are traditional beef production. So that's a very small percentage of the cattle and feed.
Bill, you mentioned a little earlier that you've actually had some experience feeding both natural calves as well as calves that are implanted. What's been your experience?
It's kind of like Dr. Side said. We have a problem with getting the return on the investment for the natural. When we've done that with high-priced corn right now, we did a figure on that, and we need approximately $14 a hundred to cover our expenses of not being able to use the ruminants and as well as particularly the implant. And that gets up to $175, $180 an animal that we have to get above market price to, and nobody is offering that right now.
Gotcha. So it's more of an economic equation for you.
Huge. It's huge that way. And you remove a bunch of those things and you have way more health risks also. So.
Gentlemen, this is a great discussion, and again, don't forget about the special offer we've been discussing from Pfizer Animal Health. Order either SinofX or Dectamax from Pfizer Animal Health now through December 24th and save 20% off your entire purchase. Call now, 1-877-682-2369 is the number.